The third sign is a really important one to pay attention to. If you start to dread making this product, if you see it on the order list and you just, wish no one had ordered it this week, or you feel frustration bubbling up, that's a sign. So your menu should be filled with the products that you actually enjoy making. Because when you love the process, your customers can feel it in the product. Welcome back to another episode of the Breadwinner Podcast. It's your host, Caroline, here, and I am here with another episode about something that I've learned the hard way. Something that I think a lot of us have to learn the hard way in our microbakery business. But maybe by listening to this episode, you can skip part of the learning curve. So today we're going to be talking about eliminating a product from your menu, kind of figuring out if it's not working and then how to eliminate it, how to communicate that with your customers, and how to decide whether or not to keep it around. So I totally get it. I am right there with you. We put a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of thought into our menu. Sometimes we really just bake something that we love. Maybe it's a childhood favorite or something, it's sentimental, and we get a little bit of attachment to it. Maybe you have a few loyal customers who really, really love a particular product. So saying no or removing that can feel really uncomfortable or can even feel emotional. And maybe you have a little bit of guilt about removing something if you have just a couple of diehard customers who really, really love it and reorder it regularly. But there is the truth of if we're running a business that is here to stay, not every product belongs on our menu forever. The product that I really learned this with specifically was rye. I really would love to offer more unique breads, hearty grains, more of the brown breads, and I'm moving that direction. But especially when I first got started, I offered rye on my menu and I would have maybe one, maybe two orders for it. I really would love to be the baker for the whole grain breads, but that's not what my market supports right now. So only one or two customers were ordering my rye bread at a time. And what that meant is that I'm mixing up a tiny batch of bread on a bake day amidst all these other large batches. And it just became a really frustrating part of the process. It's not a lot of work to mix up an extra batch of bread. But when I'm mixing a one-off, just a single loaf or two or three loaves, when it's so much more efficient to mix 12 or 20 loaves at a time, I started to dread the process, honestly. I would put it off. Just the process of mixing this one specific small batch, I started to just sort of procrastinate. I would put it off. I would forget or run out of time and have to speed up the process and just not putting out a quality product that I was proud to stand behind. So if you are in a position where you have a product and every time an order for it comes in, you kind of inwardly groan, that's a good red flag to pay attention to. We're going to walk through how to know when it's time to let go of a product, how to do it without guilt, and how to communicate the change with your customers in a way that keeps your business moving forward. So first, let's identify the signs. There are a couple of really clear indicators that it's time to let go of a product that's just not serving you anymore. The first one is this. Is it stressful, time-consuming, or inefficient to make? Does it throw off your workflow? Does it create a bottleneck? Does it make your baking day feel twice as long? If you said yes to any of that, it's worth reconsidering this one product because your time is so precious. Even if it's not a huge investment of time to create this product, but if you're trying to fit it in and it's creating a bottleneck or just throwing off your whole workflow, maybe it doesn't need to belong, or maybe you need to shift things around to make it fit. But the purpose of these questions is to decide whether or not to just cut it entirely. The next sign is if it doesn't sell well, or if it requires you to keep in stock some really unique ingredients that are only used in this one product. So if you have to stock a specialty flour or a specialty ingredient, like with me, I had to have rye flour and caraway seeds, and I don't use those in anything else. So I had to make sure I had them on my shelf in my bakery. But when I'm only getting an order once in a while for one loaf at a time, it just doesn't make sense to keep that in stock. The third sign is a really important one to pay attention to. if you start to dread making this product, if you see it on the order list and you just, oh, wish no one had ordered it this week, or you feel frustration bubbling up, that's a sign. So your menu should be filled with the products that you actually enjoy making. Because when you love the process, your customers can feel it in the product. And when you don't, when you dread it, when you're putting it off, procrastinating, just feeling really icky about it, you're more likely to put out a product that you are not fully proud of. So if you nodded along to any of that, or if you're thinking of a particular product, then here's how we let it go. So the first thing to consider is if you do have those loyal customers who really, really love this product, what do? It can feel really wrong to pull this product away that they love, or it can feel uncomfortable to know that you might be missing out on some business if you had a consistent order of this one product every week, and then you're cutting that off. Are you going to lose out on sales? So here's one really important thing to note. Your business is yours. And if a product is making your life harder, it is okay to let it go. If you're building a business that is burnout proof, that is not going to wear you out, exhaust you, leave you frustrated, you need to focus on creating your business in a way that supports that. So if you have this one product, even if you have a customer who loves it, even if it earns you a few dollars each week, you need to make the rules and support yourself and support your sanity and your well-being and your joy by letting that one go. So here are a couple of ways to make this process feel a little bit easier. The first is to reframe the decision. So instead of feeling like you're taking something away, remind yourself that you are making space for what actually works. This is so, so important. Circle back to that if you need to. Instead of feeling like you're taking something away, remind yourself that you are making space for what actually works. Simplifying your menu will help you run a more sustainable, profitable business in a way that you are not feeling exhausted at the end of every week. Another way to make the process feel a little easier could be to create a minimum order policy. So maybe you do have that handful of diehard fans for a specific product. You could consider implementing a batch minimum. You could explain something like, I'll only make this if at least 6 people pre-order. Or if you want to order a large batch and stock your freezer with it, I do require at least 6 orders in order to make a batch of this product. That way you're making it worth your time. And if the demand is truly there, then your customers can rally together and make it happen. The next way to make the process feel easier is to offer alternatives. So if people ask about the discontinued product, and in my experience, a lot of times they don't. But if they do, you can recommend something similar. If they loved your whole wheat sourdough, but you removed that from your menu, maybe your spelt loaf is a good alternative. If it's a seasonal product, something that you only stock certain times of the year due to ingredient availability, or if it's a specialty item, consider bringing it back occasionally instead of keeping it on your weekly menu. And when people ask about it, you can just say, it'll be back in October or whenever you're going to bring it back. Letting go of a product doesn't have to be saying no to it forever either. It might come back when it makes sense for you, when you have more bandwidth, maybe the demand for it changes. Letting go is just about making an intentional choice to support you in this season to make sure that you're supporting your business and your peace of mind. So the next thing, once you've made the decision to eliminate that product, is to communicate the change. You just can keep this simple. Let it feel easy. Don't overthink it. If someone asks, or if you feel like you need to make a statement, you can say something like, after a lot of thought, I've decided to simplify my menu to focus on my most popular and efficient bakes. This means I'll no longer be offering my rye bread. I know some of you loved it, and I so appreciate your support. But if you're looking for something similar, I recommend my 50/50 whole wheat heritage loaf or something along those lines. So you're still offering to serve them in a tangible way with something similar. You're thanking them for their support. So you're still keeping them engaged. You're just explaining that in order to run a business that's thriving, you have to take this product off the menu for now. If you're listening and not able to write that down, so if you click into the show notes, you can find the episode webpage right there and just grab, copy and paste and tweak that wording to suit you best. But you're keeping it short, you're keeping it clear and warm. You're not apologizing and you're not over explaining. There's no need to give all of the details. You don't need to say, I dread making it every week. You don't need to say, I have to stock this ingredient for only this product and X, Y, and Z and all of the baker stuff that they don't need to know. You're just keeping it simple, warm, and offering a alternative. And I have just kind of found a lot of times when I'm ready to drop a product, I don't make a public statement. I just stop offering it. And if someone does come and ask, I just respond to them graciously. Like, I just don't have the bandwidth to offer that right now, and my market isn't supporting it. And so I'm keeping my most popular products in stock. Most customers will totally understand. They're going to be so gracious and so supportive. They're going to praise you likely for supporting yourself and building your business in a way that feels good for you. They want you to be happy and they want you to be successful. So if a product just isn't working for you, they'll get it. And you could maybe even take it a step further if you feel like you need to, or if they're really bummed out. And you could say, I know the baker down the street, Susie Q, she makes rye bread and she makes great rye bread. And I'm sure that she would love to make one for you. Those community connections too can go a long way to forging relationships with other people, a mutual kind of referral. If Susie Q doesn't offer something, but she knows you do, you can go back and forth and send customers back and forth. So to wrap it all up, here's kind of the action step. Take an honest look at your menu and think about if there is something on there that just drains your energy, that you just don't enjoy, feels like drudgery, or you procrastinate, you're putting it off, or it's becoming a bottleneck. If it just doesn't feel worth it anymore, just give yourself permission to go ahead and just let it go. I would really love to hear from you. What is a product that you're considering dropping, or have you already been through this experience yourself and what happened? Leave me a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're listening on a podcast app, take a screenshot of the show. Let me know what product you eliminated, what happened, and tag me, Caroline_Bauer_sourdough, so I can see and reshare and we can all learn together. If you're not already following the show, make sure that you hit like or subscribe so you don't miss an episode. If you take the time to leave a review, if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, that would mean the world. It helps other people find the show. Optimizing for a podcast isn't easy, and so when you do take a moment to leave a quick review, that's going to help even more bakers find the show. And so I so am grateful for each of you who take a moment to do that. I'm so honored when you take some time out of your busy weeks to have me in your ears, to learn with me. It's such a privilege to be able to share and help us all grow together. I will be back very soon with another episode, but until then, happy baking.